alcohol industry, where most people are shifting to buying local brews, and we have counterfeit products in the market. This is in relation to the reliefs given to these companies. Some are saying they're not enough, some are saying are enough. And we also have an economy where at the moment, if you are keen, you've witnessed most people surviving on credit. That is something we'll also be talking about with the guest on the launch. Many people surviving on credits to sustain their livelihoods. We have the public image that is to be maintained, but in real sense, people are living beyond their means. Is the economy too tough, or is it just that we are not financially disciplined? Because they say, in as much as they say, sometimes it's not that something is expensive, it's just that you don't afford it. Sometimes that is just the case. But is it okay to go for credit to afford our lifestyle, or what is the other alternative to go to? Is it borrowing, or is it finding alternatives? And if it's finding alternatives, what are these alternatives? We have a report by the Kenya Revenue Authority saying that companies are now downscaling their production. This is because they are facing difficulties in the country. Managing companies is becoming difficult. You have businesses closing down, we have investors shifting to other countries. So is it the problem that we have a country that the economy is tough, or what exactly is the problem? So that is on Matters Economics, Matters Business. Those are just among the things we're going to be talking about this morning on the newspaper review. And joining us for that discussion will be our very own Ojwang Mariam, of course, who will be helping us understand what is going on in the country at the moment. And we'll also be joined by Robert Makoha, who is also many people know him as the president of the Bunge la Mwananchi in Nakuru. So he'll be joining us, understanding kutoka kwa ground inasema aje. What is it that the ground is saying about the state of our economy, the political affairs, the state of education system, the state of governance, and finally the state of healthcare in the country. And also we'll have a look at what is shaping the world of news. That's what we're going to have shortly. But before we get into informing you what is shaping the world of news this morning, I want us to take a look at what is happening on the roads, and of course the weather situation across different cities in the country. To kick us off, we are going to begin with the education news, where the national primary and junior secondary school examinations officially began yesterday across the country. According to the Principal Secretary for Basic Education, Julius Bitok, a total of 2.4 million candidates will sit for the examinations, while more than 1.1 million grade 9 candidates officially start the Kenya Junior Secondary Education Assessment (KUTV) exam.
Candidates for grade 6 and grade 9 have officially started the national assessments for the national examinations KPSEA and KGSEA earlier today. According to the Ministry of Education, the examinations comprise the Kenya Primary School Education Assessment KPSEA, the Kenya Junior Secondary Education Assessment KGSEA, the Kenya Intermediate Level Education Assessment KILEA, and the Kenya Pre-Vocational Level Education Assessment KPV. According to the Ministry of Education, over 1.1 million candidates are taking the first junior secondary school assessment KGSEA, signifying a significant step in the new CBC education curriculum. The KGSEA exam is a transitional exam to grade 10 and the first national junior secondary examination in the CBE system. Principal Secretary for Education Julius Bitok says that 2.4 million grade 10 slots are ready for the grade 10 students. The Ministry of Education has assured the nation that all systems are ready for the good administration of the forthcoming examination. Principal Secretary Julius Bitok confirmed that all funds allocated to enable the examination have been released, with every school that confirmed its data receiving the money. With the examinations expected to conclude on Wednesday, the government is calling for integrity and security as examinations proceed across the country. Rajab Juma, KUTV.
At the same time, students sitting for the National Kenya Primary School Education Assessment (KPSEA) and Junior Secondary School Education Assessment (KGSEA) began a crucial stage in their academic journey under the Competency-Based Education (CBE). The examinations kicked off smoothly across most counties under calm and orderly conditions. Moses Marshall reports.
National examination for the primary school and the junior secondary school assessment have started peacefully in the northeastern region. A total of 80,426 candidates sitting for the exam, including 28,486 students taking JC in 539 centers, while 51,140 sitting for the KPSEA. The Garissa County led with 31,535 candidates, followed by Mandera with 11,023, followed by Wajir with 9,382 candidates. This is according to the Regional Director of Education in the region, Mr. Aden Robel.
All is set for this year's exams. The RD has named all the exams that we are managing. As I had mentioned in our last interview, we have additional containers which were supposed to take care of the additional exams that we are doing this time around. Last year we didn't have KGSEA exams, that is the Kenya Junior Secondary Education Assessment.
Elsewhere in Kirinyaga County, the exam has begun successfully according to the County Director of Education, Mr. Joshua Mwangi. A total of 11,834 candidates are sitting for the KEPS, where 11,663 taking JC exams.
The examination centers that we have for KPSEA, we have the candidates are 11,834, whereby boys are 6,050. The girls are 5,784. For KJSEA, we have 11,000 candidates, 663. For boys, we have 6,022, and for girls, we have 5,641. For KPSEA, we have 313 centers, and for KJSEA, we have 260 centers.
In the Moya East region in Kirinyaga County, one candidate is sitting for the national exam for the Kenyatta Hospital, while all the necessary arrangements have been made to ensure the student complete the examination peacefully, just like other candidates.
We have one hardship case in Moya East. The candidate is in Kenyatta Hospital, but the examination arrangements have already been done. So maybe that's the brief for Kirinyaga County I can give for now. The exam has been issued. We have issued the examination or the assessment papers to all our schools in Kirinyaga Central.
In Kisii County, a total of 4,300 candidates are taking part in KPC and JC exam in the Kisii Central Sub-County. The Deputy County Commissioner for Kisii Central, Mr. Joseph Mwangi, said that exams have been distributed to 78 schools, including 14 public and 27 private institutions.
We issued exams to 78 public primary schools and 14 private schools. All of them, they have carried the exam. As you can see, the buses are leaving. Deployment is very okay. You can see police officers here. They are well briefed and they are ready for the task.
In Kilifi County, in Malindi Sub-County, the KPC exam also began with 25,631 candidates sitting for 78 centers. According to the Sub-Commission Director of Education, Rashid Roba Abdan, the distribution of the examination papers, both KPC and JPC, was conducted successfully and smoothly.
We have the exam for KPC and KJSEA. For KPC, we have 82 centers, and KJSEA, we have 78 centers. The total enrollment for KPC is 36,038 for both candidates, boys and girls. For KJSEA, we have a total of 25,631 for both boys and girls. So far, we have not encountered any challenges. The exam has actually moved as planned.
Moses Masha, KUTV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Moses. Now, moving on, President William Ruto yesterday launched the Mau Forest Complex Integrated Conservation and Livelihood Improvement Program in Nakuru County, outlining a major environmental restoration plan aimed to rehabilitating degraded forest land while improving livelihoods and promoting sustainable development across Kenya's vital water catchment areas.
President William Ruto today at Nakuru County during the launch of Mau Forest Complex Integrated Conservation and Livelihood Improvement Programme, he revealed that the 3,000 hectares of Mau forests have been severely degraded and require urgent restoration.
August, these community members have since been paid about 7.
Ruto, on the other hand, stated that his government aimed to rehabilitate 3,000 hectares annually over the next decade to revive both the forest ecosystem and surrounding communities.
Sio kazi ya wizara peke yake ya mazingira na misitu. Hii ni kazi ya Wakenya wote, serikali nzima ya taifa letu la Kenya. Na ndio sababu hiyo tumekubaliana ya kwamba Kenya Forest Service itashirikiana na wizara ya Public Service, hasa National Youth Service, watusaidie katika kuzalisha seedlings ama miche bilioni 1 kila mwaka. Na hiyo kazi inaanza kwa kasi.
The initiative aligns with Kenya's national goal of planting 15 billion trees, intended to increase forest cover and protect major water catchment areas. Ruto stressed that the conservation effort must go hand in hand with community empowerment, including the creation of green jobs and promotion of sustainable land use.
Itakuwa ni chemichemi ya kutusaidia kuwa na maji katika mito yetu. Jambo la pili, itatupatia rasilimali ya mbao itakayotusaidia kuzalisha uchumi wa taifa letu la Kenya. Na pia tuko na mambo ya livelihoods ambazo wale wanaishi karibu na hizi misitu pia watafaidika, ili tuhakikisha kwamba kuna uhusiano mzuri kati ya wananchi na misitu, kusiwe na fujo.
The head of the state described the Mau forest as a lifeline for the economy, climate resilient and future generation, urging county government, local community and the private sector to collaborate in restoration efforts. The president reaffirmed his administration dedication to restore the Mau, securing water resources, enhancing agriculture and improving livelihood across the region, and not forgetting to mention about Nyota project that those who apply and it was successful will start receiving the money from Friday next week. Rael Makona, KUTV.
Now, in the spirit of environmental conservation, it is raining in the country. Make sure to stay safe and avoid getting or driving into places where water has accumulated, because we don't want to witness other cases of accident caused by this current weather. We've already had enough cases of accident since the year began. This has been a year with so many accidents. As we're heading to the festive seasons, make sure that you stay safe on the roads with the current weather. Now, moving on matters politics, the ODM leadership has yesterday met under their acting party leader, Dr. Oburu Odinga, to deliberate on the way forward ahead of the upcoming by-election. The meeting, which was attended by Party Secretary General Edwin Sifuna, Mombasa Governor Abdul Somad Nasir, and Kisii Governor Simba Arati, among others, was to pave way on a plan on how to continue implementing former party leaders' ambitions. According to Sifuna, the party will continue honoring Raila Odinga and has rubbished rumors that there are differences within the party. The communication from ODM has now stirred reactions on the agreement between the leaders, who were seen differing each other on their former party leaders' burial.
It is with this in mind that we now call upon the leadership and membership of the party to rally around the late leaders' dreams and desires for this beloved movement and work together. Certainly, no one will be able to fill the massive shoes left by Raila, but together, the unity of purpose will be a key cog towards navigating the next 15 months. Whatever ideological and political competitions within the movement must remain healthy, as Raila himself desired, while seeking to lay a strong foundation for the next election and beyond, so that ODM as a national party and the most consequential one in the last 20 years does not fade from the scene. The immediate post-Raila period will be admittedly difficult, but we do not have the luxury of time, as there are both the 20th anniversary celebrations and the November 27th by-elections to think about. Additionally, elected leaders and party officials bear a crucial responsibility to reach out to party members across the country to comfort and assure them that the journey of the late Raila Odinga is still on, and we will remain relentless until Canaan is yonder.
Now let's take a listen at ODM party politics. Two senior members of parliament are warning followers of former Prime Minister Raila Odinga to be cautious of politicians who may use his passing to divide his broad-based governance agreement with the government, that is the Kenya Kwanza government. Game Member of Parliament Elisha Odhiambo and Ugenya Member of Parliament David Ochieng claimed that even well-known tribalists were now spreading propaganda to get Raila's best of support to cease supporting the broad-based administration that the previous premier left them. Odhiambo accused some Orange Democratic Movement officials and a governor of peddling lies that Raila did not enter a memorandum of understanding with President William Ruto beyond 2027. Despite paying a significant amount of taxes to the national coffers, Odhiambo claimed that the community had been left behind throughout the years and that it was time to catch up to the rest of the nation in terms of growth. Now, moving on to other issues away from ODM politics and now to matters relating to money. Postal services across Kenya have been paralyzed after employees of the Postal Corporation of Kenya downed their tools to protest unpaid salaries and unremitted statutory deductions. The workers drawn from Embu, Kisii and Central regions accuse the employer of neglect and mismanagement, saying the prolonged delay has pushed them into financial hardship.
Postal services have stalled after protests erupted in various parts of the country as workers decry neglect and mismanagement. In Embu County, operations came to a standstill as workers staged demonstrations outside the main post office demanding immediate payment of 5 months' salary arrears. They accused the government of failing to release funds owed to the corporation, saying the delay had left them unable to meet basic needs such as rent, food and school fees.
Today we are gathered here at Embu branch where all staff have down tools. Reason being, these staff behind me here, they have a salary arrears of 5 months. The last time they got a salary was in April, and up to now they have not been paid. We are calling upon the government to hasten the payment of Unduma money so that these people can be paid.
In Kisii, Postal Services employees expressed frustration over 6 months of unpaid salaries and the non-remittance of statutory deductions, including medical and pension contributions. The workers say they would not resume duties until their dues were paid in full, blaming the corporation's management for poor financial accountability.
We've really suffered as postal employees. We've really suffered. How can we work for 6 months without salary? How? We have children who are going to school. We are paying rent. This is not acceptable, and we've downed our tools today. Today we are saying we are not going back to work until all our 6 months salary are paid. Yes. Our CEO, Mr. Tonui, the other day he declared profit for the corporation. He said we made a profit. But how can he declare a profit yet we are not being paid?
In Nyeri County, staff also stopped working, saying that they had endured 6 months without pay. They urged the government to recover debts owed to the corporation by state agencies such as Huduma Center and the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to clear their arrears.
Tumeumia sana. For the last 6 months hatujalipwa mshahara. Na sisi kama wafanyikazi tumeumia na tumejitolea, lakini hiyo kujitolea kwetu imetuumiza zaidi because na hii uchumi, hali ya uchumi vile ni kali, hii harsh economic times, kukaa miezi 6 bila mshahara sio kazi rahisi na sio mchezo. Watoto hapa wamefukuzwa shule, watu wamefungiwa manyumba, kukula hapa imekuwa ni shida, rent imekuwa ni shida, wale wako na watoto university wote wamedefer, so imekuwa ni shida, tumekuwa na financial embarrassment.
In Machakos, workers demonstrated outside the Huduma Center, protesting 6 months of delayed pay. They accused government institutions housed within the postal buildings of failing to remit rent, saying their pleas have been ignored. Employees also vow not to return to work until all their dues are settled.
Madai yetu kwa sasa ni kwamba mishahara ya miezi 6 ambayo inajumulisha kiasi cha milioni 540 kilipwe kikamilifu. Jambo la pili, we have statutory deductions that are being deducted from our members.
The strike, which follows the expiry of a national strike notice by the Communication Workers Union, has crippled postal operations countrywide. With services grounded and workers vowing not to return until their dues are paid, pressure is mounting on the government to intervene and end the stalemate.
The union makes us strong.
Glory Kadure, KUTV, Nairobi.
All right, the union is making every sector strong in the country. The other day we had the dentist union threatening of strike. We've had the lecturers just a day ago. We had them come to an agreement with the government. We hope no other ministry or department of the government goes on strike in the coming days toward the festivities, because, you know, strike means we need money. So we hope that does not happen. Now, moving on into a tragic news. A man was reported killed by a mob in the Mwanyani area of Machakos County. According to the Chief Investigations Officer of Mwanyani Sub-County, the man was killed after he attacked a woman named Susan with a machete.
At 1:30, it is a shocking event at the Mwanyani area of Machakos County after a woman was brutally killed by a person suspected to be her lover. According to Nzio Kasingi, the Criminal Investigation Chief Officer of Mwanyani Sub-County, the man cut the woman with a machete while she was riding a motorbike, killing her instantly.
Hapa tumepata mwanamke kwa jina Susan ambaye ni mfanyakazi wa expire credits na walikuwa wameenda kazini, na katokea kwamba rafiki yake mwanaume alikuwa anamfuata kule kazini akiwa na nia ya mauaji, kwa sababu tayari limepata panga na visu mbili zile alikuwa amevitayarisha ili apate kufanya haya maafa.
In a swift and terrifying act of revenge by the mob, residents overpowered the man, violently assaulted him until he was dead, burned his body to ashes before police officers could arrive at the scene. The suspect, whose name is still unknown, was found carrying a machete and 2 knives. However, according to Singi, the suspect is believed to be a student.
Alipata kumkata na kumuua, na wale walikuwa karibu kwa sababu ni soko hapa tupo. Ikawa ni jambo la kuhuzunisha, na kwa haraka watu wakakusanyika na wakamkamata muuaji mwenyewe. Muuaji hajajulikana mpaka sasa, tumejui. Tunadhania ni mwanafunzi katika hizo shule Zimbabwe College Zimbabwe.
While further investigation is underway, a call has been made to the public not to take the law into their own hands. Musembi Ngumu, the chairman of the Machakos County Boda Boda Association, expressed his regret over the extreme of the violence.
Ni jambo la kusikitisha kwa sababu si kawaida hapa kwetu mambo kama haya, mauaji kama haya, na uzuri tumeshukuru askari ambao tumewaita na wakaja haraka kwa kuokoa, lakini haikuweza. Wamepata tayari jamaa ameuliwa, na pia ni kisa ambayo imetughadhabisha sana, na ombi langu ni kwa wanaume na walio kwenye ndoa na marafiki wanaozana, kama umeona ndoa ama urafiki uwezi, tafadhalini mwache mwenzako aende atafute maisha.
Rajab Juma, KUTV.
What a perfect way to end it. Kama unaona mtu haumtaki, mwache aendelee na maisha yake. All right, that is on matters social issues. Now the Shanzu law courts have arraigned 6 Iranian nationals connected to the 8.2 billion methamine haul that was seized off the coast of Mombasa. The suspect, Jasem Dazadeinia, Nadine Jadgal, Imran Baloch, Hassan Baloch, Rahim Baksh, and Imtayaz Dayai did not take plea after prosecutors sought 14 days to complete investigations. The prosecution cited language barriers that had hindered interrogation, as the suspects neither understand English nor Kiswahili. The 6 were arrested on Friday at Kilindini port following a joint multi-agency operation that led to the seizure of 769 packages of crystalline substances suspected to be methamphetamine. In court, Senior Assistant Director of Public Prosecutions Joseph Kimathi and Principal Prosecution Counsel Anthony Musyoka requested more time to verify the credentials of the court interpreter and to appoint an independent translator to ensure fair proceedings.
We'll mention the matter tomorrow so that we can verify your documentation and for the court administrator to be able to source an Iranian Balochi interpreter. If we get one, well and good. If we are able to verify your documentation, then better. So they will be remanded at Port Police pending further orders of this court. Thank you. Tell them that. Please have all the documents that are required to be able to qualify you as a person who can be able to interpret for us. The essence is to ensure that they are following the proceedings and that we are also understanding what it is that they are saying so that there is no bias.
Now matters health, professional standards and public health principal secretary Mary Mudhoni has put public health officers on high alert due to a new trend in which butchers are selling meat straight to Kenyans without allowing authorized officers to inspect it, hence putting their lives in danger. PS Mudhoni claims that in order to increase surveillance on dishonest dealers, the ministry is collaborating closely with the county governments where the majority of public health officers work, while also sternly warning inspection officers who collude with animal vendors to omit inspections.
I want to send a warning. Let us not eat uninspected meat during this period. Usiende kwako unakuta kuku inafifia, unasema wacha nichukue hii kabla ikufe. Ilishakufa. Usiende kwako ukakuta ng'ombe iko karibu kuanguka, unasema iko tu sawa, wacha tuangalie, wacha tuonje. Hatutaki hospitali zijae this season. Please send this message, and I want to ask all the public health officers, kama kunao hapa, ingieni kazi. Wacha waende wafunge zile butchery zenye zinalete nyama zenye haziko inspected, because you may not get it from home, utapata kwa butchery. Na wale butcher ama merchants wenye hizo butcheries, wenye wanapanga kwenda kuchinja punda na kuchinja mnyama ingine this season, tunawaambia tafadhali, Wakenya wanataka amani, Wakenya wanataka kuwa safe.
All right, thank you for staying with us through the news update. We are about to take a short break, but before then, to many, money, to some people, money is the root of evil. To others, money is a sign of God's blessing. Where do we draw the line between foolishness and patience or trust in God? That is the discussion that you're going to have after the break. So stay tuned for that discussion.
Our planet's future is in our hands. However, there is a threat to the brightness of this tomorrow. On EarthCheck, we share the challenges, the solutions, and the hope.
I would call this a very momentous day, a very critical day.
Every episode, every story, every step we take creates a ripple. Join me, the environmentalist Emmanuel Kutosi, on KUTV every Wednesday at 8 p.m. and be part of EarthCheck. Welcome.
A new era, a new people. This is the Law Matters Show. A program that brings you legal sensitization on your television.
My statement is written and just the quote the prosecution.
I think that this loss is a setback for Raila Odinga.
What policy recommendations were fronted by the candidate?
With diversity, we demystify important legal issues locally, regionally, and internationally.
What Tanzanians.
Join me, Elvin Onsongo, as I bring you more insights on law matters.
We are looking at social issues. What is the problem? Is it the economy? Is it...
Law Matters Show, creating awareness, advocacy, and enhancing lives.
I know it's used here in Kenya. And I mentioned Kadcyla, which was one of the first generation ADCs. That has a better activity than Herceptin. It's an antibody drug conjugate, but it's a non-cleavable linker. And the next generation of ADCs have Herceptin, that same antibody, now with a different warhead, a topoisomerase 1 inhibitor. This is 8 drugs per antibody. It's a less potent warhead than ours, but for a solid tumor, that's sometimes an advantage. And this was approved in 2019 against HER2-expressing cancers. And whereas the other agents, your HER2 expression had to be high or amplified, with now it can target low-expressing HER2. And in fact, in 2024, this agent on the right was approved as an agnostic, so it's an indication agnostic ADC. So any tumor that expresses HER2, you can treat with this agent now. So the field has exploded from those early beginnings. And it is, in fact, I said here it's one of global biopharma's biggest growth areas, but I think it is the biggest growth area in oncology therapy. You can see here the number of approvals up to 2023, and in fact, just to update it, there are now 17 approvals worldwide of antibody-drug conjugates, 13 in the United States, and there's more than 300 in clinical development. So we have been able to widen the therapeutic index, at least in those that the ADCs that have been approved. But there have been many challenges along the way. Preclinically, most of these ADCs work extremely well. You can cure tumors in animal models. But when you get to patients, there are often unforeseen barriers. So in the clinic, some work extremely well, some work okay, and some don't work very well at all. And we're still understanding how to optimize this. And we have to realize that more than 100 ADC programs have been discontinued. They either haven't made it into the clinic or have failed in the clinic. So there's still a lot to learn. And the challenge is finding that right combination of the antibody, the right target, the right conjugation strategy, the right drug linker, the right number of drugs to put on the antibody, and indeed the right clinical indication for a particular ADC. And we need more predictive preclinical models. We have to change the way that we do clinical trials. They need to be more innovative. And we need rational clinical combinations. And we've just got results from our drug, Zynlonta, at the top there, in a combination study. And if you put things together rationally, you can have spectacular effects. So relapsed and refractory diffuse large B-cell lymphoma. This is the target of Zynlonta, the drug that we developed that's been approved. And its overall response rate is around 50% in these patients, and the complete response rate about 25%. There's a bispecific antibody, a BiTE, that's also been approved, and that has a response rate of 46% and a complete response rate of 27%. So not dissimilar in this very hard to treat relapsed and refractory setting. But if you rationally combine them, and results have just come out from this study, your overall response rate can go up to 96%, and the complete response rate, so no evidence of cancer, 91%. So I think I've probably used up all my time, but where is the field going? So there's a huge amount of excitement in antibody-drug conjugates, as you can imagine. And many academics and drug companies and biotech are looking to optimize this field. People are looking at different formats for the antibody, using bispecific antibodies, using smaller fragments. People are looking at different ways to conjugate. making it completely site-specific by engineering the antibody. So you've got sites that you can put the drug on. There are a lot of technologies to enable you to put large numbers of drugs, less potent drugs, on without changing the properties of the antibody. And indeed, a new field has emerged where people are adding different drugs, 2 drugs or 3 different drugs to the same antibody. In terms of the drugs, people are moving away from cytotoxic drugs and looking also at immune-stimulating drugs, delivering those to stimulate the immune system in tumors, or to deliver agents that will degrade proteins in the tumor, or indeed delivering radioisotopes, which will then kill the tumor. And I think, excitingly, the target is changing as well. The original idea was to target these antigens on the cell surface, but now there's a big field looking at targets within the tumor microenvironment rather than the tumor cells themselves. And I think what's also very exciting is that it's moving out of the oncology field as well. Antibody-drug conjugates can deliver any agent that you attach to a cell by this mechanism. And in fact, people are looking at delivering antibiotics, antibody AACs, antibiotic conjugates, and that field is now rapidly emerging. And also there are targets within rheumatology, inflammation, and so on. So I've used up my time. I'll just leave you with my hero. My hero is Paul Ehrlich. He lived a long time ago. That's him on the left. He won the Nobel Prize in 1908. He was what we call the father of chemotherapy. He was the first person to give chemotherapy. And he was German, and he came up with this phrase, the magic bullet. We hear that phrase, delivering a magic bullet. And what he defined it as was a compound that could be selectively delivered to a designated target by another agent. What he's described is an ADC. So we like to think of them as going some way towards his vision of a magic bullet. So I'd just like to acknowledge a lot of people who are involved with these studies, and to thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, John.
Agents is what your target is. Because if your target is expressed on normal tissue, even if it's at a much lower extent than on the tumor, then you're likely to deliver some ADC to the normal tissue, and that can have toxic effects. So, for example, I showed you the example of the HER2 and Herceptin, and then those ADCs, and they've been very, very effective. And they're not delivering very, very potent ADCs. We made an ADC targeting one of our very potent ADCs, one of our very potent warheads, to HER2 as well. And it was very, very good preclinically, but in the clinic there was too much toxicity. And the reason there was too much toxicity is because HER2 is expressed on some normal tissue. So, and it's important normal tissue. It's expressed in the heart, for example. So, whereas the ADCs with the very, very potent warheads that work very, very well are targets that either are not expressed in normal tissue, or if they are, it's not critical tissue. Now, our drug, Zynlonta, that targets CD19, the target is on lymphomas, and they express it very highly. But it's also on normal B cells. And those are also attacked by the ADC. But that doesn't matter, because when you deplete your B cells, they can recover again. So that's an acceptable normal tissue that expresses the antigen. So you have to choose that very, very carefully. So for some targets, you need less potent warheads. And then your other question was about the hematological versus the solid tumours. Yes, I mean, the main consideration there with the solid tumours is that often the antigens are expressed at a lower level than some of the antigens on hematological cancers. But also, you get a lot more heterogeneity. In the CD19 expressing lymphomas, all the cells express CD19, and that's why you can wipe them all out. In a solid tumor, you very often get some cells that are highly expressing HER2, but adjacent cells may have different levels of HER2, and indeed some of the cancer cells may not express HER2. So you need to have that bystander effect. Does that make sense?
Okay, next question. There's Alicia there.
Thanks so much, Professor, for the kind of work you're doing.
Welcome back. If it's Kenyatta University, then you know it's definitely keeping you updated all around and making you an all-round person. So that has been a lecture that has been happening right here on KUTV. At this point, I want to shift your mind or to shift your thoughts from class and now back to business. In this generation, we are in a generation where most of the time the balance between faith and the conversations of faith and money, we rarely talk about them. If you're in social media, in the recent days, you've seen various clips of different church leaders talking to young people, some telling them that, you know, there is no heaven, some telling them that Christianity is not about God doing you favors, you need to put the work, others telling the congregation that, you know, I became rich not because of God, some telling Christians that most poor people are in church. Some even go ahead and saying that the churches are wasting time for the rich. So what exactly is happening when it comes to money? What does this how does this shape the mind of young people in terms of, I want to go to church, but then going to church is somehow termed to be foolishness. So what is the balance? What is the line between foolishness and faith? How do we trust in God in this? To some, money is the root of all evil. To others, money is a sign of God's blessing. So what is the balance between the two? Joining me this morning is Pastor Benjamin, who has worn both uniforms. He's at the pulpit and also in the business world. So he'll be helping us understand more about that, and we'll also be joined by a young mind who will also be helping us understand what exactly are the youths thinking about when it comes to conversation dealing with the money, financial resilience, and faith. Allow me to allow the guests in studio introduce themselves to you. Let me begin from you, Pastor. Karibu sana. Thank you for making time for us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Madam Sylvia. Thank you for having me this morning. I'm happy to be here, and I believe that by the end of this talk, we'll have many minds which will be transformed, and we'll have created awareness in the mind of the many young people concerning what is the place of faith, let's say in business, what is the place of faith, what is the place of God in money creating and all that. It is true that nowadays many people think that it is just their own effort. They make it through their own effort, but there is a place of God in everything that we do. In the blessings, in the world that we get, there is the place of God. There is the place of human being. You as man, you have got your place. God has got his own place. Thank you.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Yes.
So thank you very much. My name is Elijah Momo. I'm so happy to be here. Concerning this topic, I believe it's going to be an eye-opener to many youth. I believe it's going to be transformative because there are a lot of myths and untruths, or rather falsehoods around there concerning why, if at all, you need to relate yourself with faithful groups and associations like churches. So I believe it's going to really open people's minds to understand the truth about what we are going to discuss today.
All right, now that we're still at you, Elijah, let's show the truth or tell our perspective on the myths of success. Currently, young people are obsessed about building a community online.
Yes.
And thinking that the more likes I get, that means I am doing well, or the more people applaud me for what I'm doing, that means I'm successful. So putting away social media and external validation, what does the success mean to you as a person?
Success, first of all, starts with having a purpose. And purpose comes from having a vision. So one would sit and ask himself or herself and say, what do I need to achieve in life, aside from getting the likes on social media? That aside, once you identify where you need to be, you need to see what steps do I need to achieve. So that is where success comes in. What steps do I take to achieve what I want to achieve? And the achievement will come from the discipline in following those steps. So that would be my definition of the source of success in anyone's life: finding purpose from vision and making steps to going to achieve the set objective. Yes.
This is something that I'm sure most people relate. They're like, if I am successful, it needs to be seen. Someone will want, I need to be driving this kind of car. My apartment needs to be looking this and this way. But from where you sit, Pastor, allow me to call you Pastor through the show.
No problem.
All right, from where you sit, is it that young people want things moving so fast compared to those who are ahead of us? Because you'll hear a young person saying that their definition of success is not how he has defined it, having purpose. The definition is a little bit different. Is it that we are moving so fast and we are lacking that resilience? Because these days you'll hear someone quit their job because they just say that it's not good for my mental health, and probably they say that environment is toxic. If it's on matters relationship, someone will say that that person is so nonchalant, that person is manipulative. There are these words that are coming up and they're making young people give up on things very fast. Is it that the young people are lacking resilience to keep pushing forward, or is it that they just not ready to waste time?
Well, thank you. I don't think that they are not ready to waste time, because the life that our young people are living now, it's a quick life. Quick life. I think some people call it like microwave life. You want something instant. Like in the old times or the older generation, there is a process. It is a process. Life is a process. Whatever you do is a process. Even becoming wealth or becoming rich, becoming successful, it is just a process. And what my brother just said, being successful is not having so much wealth, a lot of money, big houses, big vehicles. To me, success is discovering the purpose of God in your life and fulfilling it. When you fulfill what God has called you to do, is now that I can say that you're in the path of success. Now, to our young people, is that they don't want to wait for the process. They don't want to go through the process. Therefore, it's not this toxic, the life and all that. There's nothing like that in the older generation. You have to work. You have to make things work. You have to manage the situations which are there, as it were, for the things to be able to happen. Therefore, our young people does not have patience. They need to have patience. They need to know what is the place of God in their lives. What is the place of God in the things they are doing? If it is the business, if they say in the marriage, what is the place of God in their lives? But now, because of compulsion, because of wanting things very fast, now it is bringing our people to that kind of the thinking and the mentality that they have, that I need to have this no matter the means. Some may even go to an extent of using means which are not godly, as long as they achieve the cloud chasing. I think that's the kind of young people that we have. But I would like to urge them, there is a place of God in their lives in whatever they do. There is the place of God in whatever they do, and the place of the man or human being in whatever they do.
All right.
Yeah, actually, I think I can add on that. You know, when having likes on social media or the following on social media, people tend to forget that you lose yourself somewhat in some aspect, because from that you gain, or rather you find yourself deep in depression for some people, because whenever you're following something that is on the line of I need to get this attention from people, you tend to not focus on building yourself. You tend to please them, so you get into depression, and I think that's that is what is causing a lot of youth to lack the resilience that is needed, because they end up losing it midway. So I believe once somebody finds himself, what do I need myself? What do I want to do to achieve in life? Then follow that trajectory. I believe it can solve a lot of things and even increase the resilience among the youth. Yes.
All right. I love that. Success being defined by purpose. Now, Pastor, help us help the young people, me included. Because how do you balance the narrative, the societal narrative, that, you know, to be successful, you don't need to be religious? And I've heard people saying that, you know, if you're too religious, then you're a red flag. How do you balance that? If we look at the society also, the people we consider successful, we don't see them like going to church or being religious and sort of that. We'll just hear them talking about God, you know, I pray to God and all that, but then you will not hear them being religious. How do you balance this urge to make it, but then this pressure of I don't want to call it foolishness, because it's not foolishness, this pressure from the society that if you're too religious, that means you're too desperate, or there's something that is lacking in you and you're finding religion to cover up for that. How do you avoid this getting into you?
Thank you. I think one thing our young people should be able to understand is that, as I'm saying, is the place of God in their lives. The success they want to run onto is materialistic, is on what you see, what you can touch, comparison. I saw the other day so and so with this vehicle, I just want a vehicle like that. I visited somebody, I saw the kind of the house maybe he or she has built, I need such a house. But being so materialistic. And also remember, this success, it comes from God. It is God who gives. The word of God tells us that it is God who gives us the power to create the wealth. Now, when you start getting rich and getting wealth, at times as a human being, we forget where we started. We forget the blesser. Now we start focusing so much on the blessings, we forget the one who blesses. Mm-hmm. Therefore, we need to know that it is God who blesses people. And another thing, remember that when the children of Israel, God wanted them to have a king. Initially, God wanted to be their king. He wanted to rule them. He wanted to guide them. But it came a time that the children of Israel, they demanded another king. And though it wasn't the wish of God for them to have another king, He allowed them. Because also our God is a just God. He gives us the free will to choose. You make a decision what you want. Mm-hmm. You want left, you want right. You want life, you want death. He gives us that free will to choose. Now, when they went ahead, they chose another king, their first king, who tormented them, who tortured them. He wasn't the right king. Until God intervened again, he was removed and all that. Even us, when now we get blessings, we get this wealth, we get money, we tend to forget our God. So I would like to urge our young people, as we would desire to have that good life, may we remember there is also God. God created us for a purpose. This wealth He gave us to enjoy. He gave us this money that they can help us to fulfill His purpose. Mm-hmm. He gives us the whatever that we have, that it is enabler. These finances, these cars, or the houses, it is an enabler for us to be able to achieve the purpose of God. What is the purpose of God? We make Him to be known to the whole world, to many more people. We live for Him. There is a standard life God has given us as the human race, whether we are young, whether we are old, whether you are rich or we are not rich. That kind of the holy life, the righteousness that God calls us into, and as we worship Him, how I wish I can see those young people parking V8s outside the church, getting to the church, worshiping, forgetting about their properties, forgetting about the V8s they have, and now they lie down worshiping this God. I believe you then bless them even the more. Therefore, the problem with our young people is that once we start getting blessings, we forget the blesser. We need not to forget Him. We need to always remember His position in our finances that we do, in our business and everything that we do. We need to remember there is one who blesses us, and we don't get interrupted by the social media. This kind of sometimes you see in the social media, that's not their life. The people who are always floating those flashy lives, and it is not their life. They just they want those likes, and the more we are giving them the likes, we are giving them more money. That's the thing. So they're in business, they are making money, and now we try to copy them, which is not, I would say, is not good. Let's be God-fearing, rich young people.
All right. I heard someone say that, people don't post their failures, they only post their successes.
Sure.
And let's talk about something that most people fear talking about. And let's just call this black tax, because it is something that mostly pulls the young people behind. I stand corrected. It's something that pulls young people behind when it comes to development. As a young person, as you grow in your active years, that's the time you're told this is the time you need to make more investments, you need to do this, do that, for yourself, for your kids, for your rainy days, or for when you are tired. But now it comes a time when you have to be generous. And let's call it how it is. There is that black tax. Now you want to balance between being generous and also building a foundation for yourself to become successful, saving up for a business, or saving up profits to enlarge your business, to upscale your business. So how do you balance, let me begin from your perspective, Elijah. How do you balance this between being generous and also saving up for yourself to build a stronger foundation for yourself, so that when you're older, you have built massive wealth or richness?
Yes. So first of all, for any youth, the youthful stage is a foundational stage in life. So once you understand that, you'll get to see where do I want to reach? What kind of wealth do I need to get? And so once you understand where you want to be, then I believe you'll have to organize yourself. You'll have to organize yourself in a way. If it matters finances, you would have to see to what percentage or at what percentage am I allocating this and this and this to. If it's my needs, how much can I consume? Actually, it's a conversation that is being harbored a lot by a lot of youth, but it's something that is very important, because just waking up every day and not knowing how you're going to spend your money, at the end of it all, it's going to be a waste. So let's just get over it and organize ourselves. Let's see. Yes, I have my parents at home who need this and this and this, because I've started earning and it seems that I have to return some amount back to them. Create a funding model, or rather a percentage from what you earn, because after all, you still have to give back to them for what they've been doing to you since you were a little kid. And after that, what you are left with, now you need to sit down and say, what kind of business do I need to own in the future, or what kind of job do I need to get in the future, so that maybe for that job to be achievable, what skills do I need to fund myself with, what skills do I need to fund myself with, so that I can be able to get that job. So it all requires organizing yourself, budgeting to see, yes, how much can I save in these finances that I have. If your budgeting, or rather if your needs only allow you to save 10%, save the 10%. If maybe you are somebody who doesn't spend a lot, maybe 20% is your saving index. So I believe once you get all that done, you're good to go. Yeah.
Pastor, does generosity hurt your financial stability?
Thank you. I think I'm a victim of this. And maybe people may misunderstand me, but I'm getting to a point of you need to limit how generous you are going to be. I wish I knew from a long time. I think it is just beginning of this year that I was just praying and telling God, like, I think God help me just to be bad a bit. It's quite funny, but that help me to know how to say no to some financial requests. It can really hurt. Yes, it can hurt. The reason is that one characteristic of money is that it is scarce. It is scarce. It's never enough. Therefore, you have got your own needs for the family. Those who have got family. Even if you don't have a family, you have got your own needs. You have got now you need to save for the rainy day. You need to create your own like an emergency fund, which can enable you to have that financial resilience now we are talking about. Then if you are too generous, it will affect you, because it will affect, they may leave you with no savings. You may leave you without being able to fulfill all your financial needs just because you want to be generous. Being generous, it is good. Last Sunday, we are there with the FSKU, giving food to the street families. It was a good thing. And of course, it brings blessings. Although I'm saying, you can limit, but remember that generosity that you have, it brings blessings. There is a way, especially where are you being generous? Where are you helping? If let's say if you're helping the orphans, the widows, you can really get blessings from God. But as my brother just said about the saving, then you also need to budget on that. I think this is where now budgeting comes in. You need to budget your needs, maybe your savings, emergency fund, and maybe for being for helping or being generous to other things. You need to do that.
Right. So saying no is a skill that as a young person you need to develop. But then are there, apart from being too generous with your finances, are there other financial mistakes? Because you've mentioned budgeting, lacking a budget, and you've mentioned being too generous. Are there other mistakes that people it may not be a young person, but probably an older person, that they make with regard to their finances that hinders them from achieving that financial stability?
Yes, there are. For instance, after you finish school, that the way your peers together, and you may, after some time, maybe 5-10 years, you meet your classmates, you'll find in the social status you are at different levels. There are some who have been blessed more than the others. Maybe some got good jobs, better jobs. Maybe some entered into business, they're prospering very well. Therefore, when you meet, you may start comparing yourself with the other people. And if you are not careful, you may want to, the spirit of competition may just come upon you. You want to be like so and so, you want to be on the house like so and so. Now you start entering into borrowing, into loans, into debts, just to fill up the gap, to fit. So I want to say that let every person run his or her own financial race. Therefore, entering into debts, loans, is a mistake which can cause financial stress upon you. Also, maybe impulse buying, things you don't plan for, they can also cause you to enter into that. So we need to check on those areas also.
From experience, do you have other things that you think that people make as mistakes when it comes to their finances?
Yeah, I would say it's the negative side of budgeting. That's living beyond your means. Like you see that, I need a watch. You look up into the internet, you find a 5K watch, yet every time you just get on average 2K per month, and then so you decide to get some Fuliza somewhere and you get the watch. But at the end of it all, you're sponsoring a liability. You see, if it's a loan or a debt or whatever you call it, provided it's some money that you've borrowed, it should be something that grows you. It must be an investment for debt to work. That's what Dave Ramsey usually says, that whenever you're borrowing, let it not fund your liability. That's what also Adnan Sani usually says, the Ghanaian billionaire. He says that whatever debt you get, try and make it to grow yourself. If it's maybe a business that you want to open, of which many youth are considering, however small it is, let the loan be towards that, not towards feeding you, not towards buying the new clothes, the new shoes, or looking nice, or that new perfume that you just heard about. Let it be, if it's a business to open, get the loan, open the business. If it's maybe investments, you've done some good research, you've seen somewhere that maybe it's an MMF. You see, maybe in some few months I can recoup back the loan I borrowed. Then that's good. I believe loan is for investment, not for liability. That's one of the mistakes that many youth consider not to follow. Yeah.
So many people are guilty on that, because you'll hear someone say that, yes, I'm living beyond my means. I mean, I need to work to afford my lifestyle. So they go beyond what they can just to afford the lifestyle fit in the society, just what you've said. Now, when it comes to young people beginning businesses, I've had an encounter with several youths. They begin businesses, and then after some time, they're like, this is not working for me. So when do you know, how do you know the difference between you're wasting time on a business and you need to be patient? How do you differentiate the two?
I'll say that it's good to do a business with figures. Of course, when you start a business, you don't expect it to give you profits next month or 2 months or maybe even 3 months or 4 months, depending on the type of the business. Therefore, I would say that when you start a new business as a young person or wherever you are, is that put your figures, know what are the expenses of every month, what is the income, compare it with the figures of the next month. Is the gap narrowing between the expenses and the income? If it continues to narrow, then I think they're on the right path. But if it continues to increase, then there is a point to worry about. Therefore, do business, but have figures.
Is there something like overcrowded? Because some say that there is more than enough space for everyone, and then you'll find several businesses, so many people beginning the same business. Could that be a challenge hindering growth in the current business models?
Well, depending with the type of business, I think there is always a space for every business, or rather for every investor. It is not necessary that it is overcrowded, because you find, why is the other person, a new person starting the same business within the same locality? Do research. Once you do the research and you find out how big is that market, can it accommodate another business, another investor? If it can, then I believe every business has got its own customers, has got its own market share. How big is the market share for that kind of business? That's, I think, we need to do business also, start business also, after we have carried out some research. You don't start just because others have started, or maybe there isn't a similar business that you want to start in the locality. Why are there no business like that? But once you do some feasibility study, then you're able to know the possibility of this business to succeed in this place. So let's do research, let's do feasibility study. Number of business at times does not count, depending with how big, how deep is the market.
So the problem mostly is with the young people just casually beginning things without making it a professional. Whether it's a sole proprietorship, you just begin it. Elijah?
Yeah, so concerning that, you've actually started my point. The kind of research that he's talking about is you have to see, in this market that I'm trying to join myself into, there are so many businesses of the like that I want to start. What is their weakness? What are their weaknesses? Or what is it that they are not satisfying for the customers? That is where you come into the business. You don't just start a business with the mind of, I want to make money. Of course, there's the money aspect, but you have to go there as an entrepreneur and say, what are the problems that these customers are facing? And even with all these other businesses that have already started and running, what are they not solving? I believe that's where the niche comes in, and that's where you get the sustainability, or rather the longevity in starting a business. You won't say my business is not working. Provided you're solving a solution, you are guaranteed that your business will churn profit well. Yeah.
All right, well said. Now, still on you, Elijah.
Yes.
There comes a time when you need to upscale, you need to save, but then what you're having barely keeps you going. So you're living on survival mode. How do you achieve financial stability on this? Especially, this happens mostly, it affects mostly the boy child, because you see, for the girl child, you'll be like, you're calling home, mom, mimi nalalanja, and your mom will be like, acha nikutafutie 200 nikweke. But for a man, you see, you grow up and you're like, I need to be stable. So you have much expectations from the society, but then what you're getting, it barely keeps you alive. So how do you achieve stability with this little thing that you have? Bear in mind, there is pressure from around.
I love the way you've given me the good context to because it really fits with me well. This is something that I recently started back some few weeks ago. I just looked into my finances and said, yes, I'm well off in terms of me calling or whatever finances I'm getting from wherever, but I sat down with myself and asked, so can I continue just making calls? I said no. So I looked into my expenses and I said, let me focus on what I eat or what I spend each day and see where the waste comes in, or where the unnecessary spending comes in. I believe once somebody looks into his expenses at the micro level, not at the macro level where you say, on average, I receive this money. No, you look into what you spend every day. And I believe those little savings that you're going to make from reducing the cost that you're making will surmount to something big. And if you stay consistent into that habit, well, I believe after a few months or just some little years, you'll get to have something that is enough to say, maybe now I can begin to think of multiplying the money that I already saved.
I get that, because when you talk about food, I think about the mistakes I do. Sometimes you're like, let me just get fast food, it's easier, I will not wash utensils. Yeah. But then you realize you've spent like 300 shillings on lunch. If you were to cook in the house, you'd spend probably at most 150, because you probably have all the ingredients. I think that's brilliant. Now, Pastor, give us a secret. Your generation used to pay fees, munajenga, munanunua plot, you do all these things. You take your siblings to school, like you're paying their fees, like you're doing all these things with a very, very little amount of salary. What's the secret?
Thank you. I think as mentioned, kuna kitu mentioned hapo earlier, is about what kind level or standard life that you are living. One, are you living within your means? Because today, our young people, or the generation of today, it's living beyond their means. And that is what that thing is making now, like our young daughters, our young sisters, the young ladies, now they enter into other things. Now I think that's why you're having story of unasikia mubaba something, because there is a life style they want to maintain, which is not godly. Now, using means which are not godly. That's what I mean. Now, in that older generation, it was about living within your means, planning that money. It's what have enabled the older generation to educate 5 kids, 6 kids. These people have built. These people, maybe they have got their own family car. They are doing all those things. Maybe they're starting a business, family business. It's about living within the means. And as we have said, budgeting is very important. When you don't have a budget, now this is the point that you are able to say no to the helping which may be requested upon you, because you don't have a budget. But you have a budget. You may be having, let's say, like 100,000. But if it is budgeted, that money is not available. But when it is not budgeted, though there are needs to be met, that money is just available. It can go to any need. Therefore, budgeting is very important. Living within the means is very important. And also to have now that financial resilience. This is where now maybe as an individual or as a family you need to sit down and know that we have got many needs, not only today, but even the days to come. What else can we be able to do that we're able to meet the financial obligations? Maybe now we can think of if I'm employed, what other side hustle can I do? What other small business can I do? If it is maybe the wife is pale nyumbani, maybe if she does not have a job, what other business can she be able to do? As you now start creating more streams of income, more income avenues, to be able to complement that whatever you are having. And this needs to be planned as a long-term or medium-term thing, because now you don't start a business today, tomorrow you are reaping the profits. There's something which need to be planned. After you do those feasibility studies, my brother was talking about, after you see all that, now what business can you start? What other side hustles can you add? As a matter of fact, the time that we are living in now, one source of income is not sufficient to maintain or to meet the needs, and that's why we keep on having financial pressure, financial stress now and then when emergencies come, because now you cannot be able to create an emergency fund that you are talking about if already you cannot be able to meet your basic financial obligations. Therefore, there is a need to start some other, to see how can I be able to start some other incomes, no matter how small they are. Then you can be able to do that. Therefore, budgeting, prioritizing, which one comes first? Having a good shopping at the back of your car, go and visit your people, or paying the school fees.
All right, I wouldn't feel good if we end this without me asking you. We've had cases where someone anachukua shamba, anapea pastor. Someone has not even paid school fees for their kids, but then they take a huge chunk of their money and take it to church. So it's like you barely eat, but you're focused on, I want to give this to God, I want to take this to church, but then you can barely survive as a person. And this is something that is shifting the narratives, especially of the young people who have shifted how they view tithes. Some will say that instead of taking this to church, let me take this to someone who is suffering at the street. So how does offering affect us in terms of our finances?
I believe, one, if you take like a tithing, it's biblical and it is a command. And God does not ask you to give what you don't have. He only asks you to give after he has already given you. In your budgeting is where now even this one's to be budgeted. If you're earning, let's say like 10,000, 1,000 is for the tithe. Maybe offering is you to decide how much you can give as an offering. It's only tithe that God puts a cut, puts an amount. And also remember, there is when we give, we activate more of God's blessings. But also as a pastor, I wouldn't expect that happy somebody is bringing me like a title deed, yet this person really has got a sick mother or father up country. As a pastor also, I should be able to understand my people. What are their needs? How can I also help them? I believe we are not only called to receive, but also to give. Not only the word of God, but also to bless our people materially. Because I've seen a situation, to some extent I agree with you, because I've seen a situation whereby maybe the pastor is living a very flashy life, big cars, but when you get to that house, there are some people who are sleeping hungry. I don't advocate for that. If as a pastor, you have been blessed enough to have a lot from your people, why don't you go back to your people? Who has got what you need? Nani ana mtoto hajaenda shule? How can I help? Just also help them, uplift them. It's a kind of a win-win situation. But it's not for us to take. Remember, even in the old times when the tithes were taken there, God was saying that bring food in my storehouse, that there may be food for who? To be given to those who don't have. Yeah.
All right. That's brilliant. Now, back to Elijah. Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? And what secret do you have that will make you get to that place? Please share with us.
That's a wonderful question, and I'm happy to answer it. In the next 10 years, I'm seeing myself managing self-made companies. That's because there are strategies that I'm deploying for myself, and those secrets that they are at a foundational level, I can say so, because like I said, so I just started some few weeks ago. So I look into my finances and I see, because these things will require money in the future and even currently. So I look into how can I grow myself. I've invested in a lot of MMFs, okay, not a lot, but strategic MMFs like Ndovu Fund. I recently left ZD Market Fund, but I'm considering CIC, which is a very nice MMF. So I look into the MMFs. It's not actually a difficult thing. Once you get the accounts, it's just a matter of funding it and getting the interest monthly. So yeah, that's what I've been doing, so that in the long term, I can get to have a substantial amount of money that I can then consider to multiply. Where can I invest more to get more money from it, like T-bills or T-bonds, whichever. So actually these things, as a youth now, contextually, it's not that it's meant to be preserved for people who are 40 plus years. It's something that you can act now. It's something that when you act now, once even in 10 years to come, that's about, if you are starting 20 years, that's 30 years. You can get to have good money, and you would say, oh really, so I didn't have to wait until I get 40 years or 50 years so that I can enjoy my millions. You get to enjoy your millions early enough. So that's, I believe, that's my secret, and I believe everyone can achieve it, provided that they see into their finances and get to know how can I multiply it. And one thing I can add, don't always result into debt financing if it's not important yet. Let it be the last resort, because debt can really be a pain in our finances. It can really eat our finances, because one of the things that really makes debts unpredictable are interest rates, because they keep on fluctuating. So you may have borrowed at 12%, but yes, you'll pay back at 12%, but you see, the fact that it keeps on changing, it really makes it volatile. Yeah, so let debt be the last resort, and I believe those are some of the things, once applied and once stick to, and also having a vision and a purpose, like I initially started, you can be able to focus on achieving that. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Elijah. Now, Pastor, as we wrap this up,
yes, please.
Looking back through the years from when you were a teenager, growing up, the businesses you've ventured into, please share with us a secret that you've discovered. Let me use discovered, because there's so many years. The secret that you've discovered that is that helps people get to financial stability earlier, or it may be something that you regret, maybe you did or you did not do, that you feel like it will help a young person somewhere who wants to achieve financial stability faster.
Thank you. I think regrets are more, because I wish we had this kind of information, kind of these forums and this awareness before at an early age. Because I think I've ventured into a number of businesses which didn't last for long. One secret or one mistake that one should not do, is you start a business today and you are eating from the same business the next month. You are starting a business today, you are paying the rent for the business premises, you are paying rent for your own house, you are staying from the same business. And remember, only we start with a minimal capital. Then that business won't last. Even if it is in a good location, even if it is a good business, it won't last, because you are eating more than the profits you're even getting. You are eating into the capital. Now, that's one thing people should not do when they start a business. How should we start that business? Let me say, business succeeds or fails on the first day you open it. That first day. What do we mean by that? How do you start it? For instance, if you start a business with so much overheads, every month the overheads are so high, that business may be destined to fail. I would advise, I would advocate, if you start a business, prepare for it that maybe in the next 3 months after I've started it, you don't take any coin from that business. Continue funding it. Continue paying the workers if they are there from other sources. Continue paying the rent for the premises from other sources until you build now some good money that you can be able to put it back. That way, I believe business can be able to start. Another thing is that don't finance your business if you have to get some outside financing, a debt or a loan. The way my brother said, don't finance it 100% from loan. At least maybe 10% to finance it can be able, but this is better. But when you finance it like 100%, then also there is that he has talked about the frustration of the interest. There are also things which may be beyond your control. Like 2020 when Corona came, or how many people have closed their businesses because Corona came? How many people are in debts? How many people are, let's say, maybe they're being taken to court? They're not able to pay back the loans they had taken. Why? Because some other natural calamities came which worked against their business. No matter what strategy they had, if it was now loan financed, I'm telling you, there's a big problem. But if you financed it from your own savings, money from other sources, other incomes, you may lose that money, but you are still there through for more money. Therefore, let's start businesses which are not 100% financed. Let's not start eating from the same business the next month after we start it. That way, we can be able to do something.
All right, I love that. Thank you, gentlemen, for making time for us this morning. My director ananiambia hapa muda wetu umeisha. I'm sure for our viewers back at home, you wished for this to continue. Getting to listen to free knowledge is something that is not so cheap, because you get to get free airtime, free years of experience. I'm sure when they're looking for you for coaching, they will not come empty-handed. But right now, you're able to get all this for free. So that has been the conversation on faith, money, and the future, especially for the young people. And this is relevant even for those who are older. You've heard Pastor say that generosity is something that he has been fighting with. So it doesn't matter the age that you are. Money, faith, and finances, depending on the God that you worship, whether it's Allah, Buddha, whatever that you worship, whether it's the traditional gods, just keep your faith and money. They go hand in hand. And also one thing you should take from this conversation, don't forget the blesser. So that has been on the launch. Thank you, gentlemen, for making time for us.
Thank you so much.
Coming up next is a discussion on the state of the nation, and we'll be joined by very Honorable Juang Mariam and Bunge la Mwananchi President, that is of Nakuru County. Stay tuned for that discussion shortly after the break.
Before the year 2026, globally 70% of businesses rely very much on digital marketing enhances. They rely very much on digital marketing enhances to power their success. Businesses miss very many opportunities due to the rapidly evolving landscape. While at the same time, digital marketing agencies we have now struggle very much to deliver personalized and data-driven campaigns that can result in real results for a business. Next slide, please. behaviors nowadays. And at the same time, the problem-solving algorithms are ever-changing every day. So every company will need a data-driven approach to stay ahead of the other companies. My company will deliver strategies that harness the high power and data analytics to boost the online presence and maximize the ROI's return on investment. Next slide, please.
The next presentation is Africarbon with Simon. And he is contestant number 15. Judges, are you okay? Do you need more time or are you okay? You ready? Okay. You can start.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Simon Kamau from the School of Pure and Applied Sciences, pursuing Bachelor of Science in IT and Records Management. So I am also the potential coming CEO of Africarbon and KTech Limited Liability Companies. So today before you, I want to present to you Africarbon. Let me ask you a question. How did you come here? Mobility. You used a diesel engine to reach here. And what did that diesel engine do? It released carbon, it released sulfur dioxide. So that's where my problem came. So according to statistics, in my first slide, 54 gigatons of carbon were released or were recorded to be released in 2021. So that's where I came up with something that carbon needs to be emitted, but there are already trees. So what my app tends to do, it wants to ensure that each city is given a chance to use drones, which these drones will be leveraging GIS, that is Geographic Information System, to scan an area like Nairobi and come up with statistics that will use to say that this number of trees should be in this number, in this area. Second slide, please. So our smart eco-solution blueprint, it aims to make sure that we restore harmony between humans and our planet. So next slide kindly. So I need 1.5 million US dollars, that is 193,800,000 Kenya shillings. I need that to deploy the app, and in 2 to 4 years the app will be running. Join me as an investor. We build, we invest in nature, and we get sustainability. Have a good day. Thank you.
Contestant number 1, Paulette.
Good morning. My name is Paulette, and today I want you all to imagine the beautiful landscapes, the coastal lines that we have in Kenya that draws millions of tourists here in Kenya. Now imagine that same tourism, what effect it brings to our climate. In tourism transport, Kenya, as per the statistics in 2022, it shows that 46,000 tons of carbon dioxide were emitted. Tourism itself is a risk to the climate action. Now, how can we take an opportunity from this problem? That's what I want to present to you, the green travel economy, a roadmap to climate resilient destination. Next slide, please. So to promote the solution that we want to provide is through carbon financing and carbon credits. 1 ton of carbon dioxide is equal to 1 credit, and we find investors in European countries through the United Nations channel their investments when companies in Kenya offer carbon credits to them. And through this initiative, the tourism in Kenya can be able to contribute to climate action in activities such as deforestation, low emission uses of low emission transport, and we find that our vision is clear. The reason why we need this is to cut the transport-related emissions and also ensure that tourism industry grows without harming the environment. This is more than a plan, it's an invitation that you join us today, not only just by planting trees, but ensuring that the tourism sector actively contributes to its renewal. Thank you.
Welcome back. We've just had an interesting conversation about faith and money, and Ojwang is telling me that tulikuwa tunaongelea tithe. No, Ojwang, we were not talking about tithe, but either way, thank you so much for making time for us this morning. Robert also, thank you so much for making time for us this morning. So to our viewers back at home, what you're about to discuss right now is the newspaper review, and this is specifically the state of our nation. Today we are having 2 newspapers. We have the Bold newspaper. We also have the Daily Nation. But before we get into talking about what is in these newspapers, I want to read you briefly the headlines of different newspapers, the Kenyan newspapers. The Daily Nation says Trump aid freeze triggers HIV crisis. That is the story given prominence on the Daily Nation. Standard has given prominence on matters politics and governance, saying keep off politics, and this is a message to the CSS, who have in recent days been involved in political affairs, that is in campaigns of the country. Taifa Leo says Biya Rais Mkongwe Zaidi, that is the Cameroonian president Paul Biya, who is apparently re-elected. That is despite all the protests that have been witnessed in the country. Some saying that how could he win, yet he did not campaign, yet he was never seen in public. So that is Taifa Leo, given prominence on an international story, also in Simamo Wao, and that is on the endorsement of acting party leader Oburu Odinga to lead the party. We have the Star saying Raila's succession, who will be next king of Nyanza. That is on matters of politics. That story cuts across all newspapers. It's on the Standard, it's on the Daily Nation. I'm seeing it on the Star. It's also on the Taifa Leo, and that is on ODM politics. We have the Standard, the People Daily, still on matters ODM after Raila Kanducho's Nyanza move rewrite Kenya's 2027 politics. So trust you me that today we are going to be talking more about politics, and that is on matters ODM 2027 elections, on matters broad-based government, and of course corruption kidogo here and there. So that is on the newspaper review. Kindly allow the guests introduce themselves. Musikie hata sauti zao. Let me begin from my immediate.
Okay, thank you so much for inviting us in your studio, KUTV. My good names are Mr. Robert Makoha Wangoho. For those we are interacting with for the first time, I'm the President Bunge la Mwananchi from the County of Nakuru. Also the new generation aspirant coordinator Rift Valley, NGA. And finally, Robert Makoha Wangoho is also a member of parliament, hopeful, come the year 2027 in Nakuru Town West constituency. Yeah,
karibu sana. Unakaa karibu na mbunge mwenzako.
Hata nimesikia nikiwa so glad. Thank you so much, Sylvia. It's a very beautiful morning from where I'm coming from. Najua kwetu kuna waga na mashida always, but it's a beautiful morning and I'm glad to be here. I'm glad that you've given me a chance to meet another Luya friend, Wangoho, because I know from 2027, kama Mungu atatujalia tujipate kwa bunge, then I have a friend that can be calling we kuja na Ingo leo bungeni. Kuna mswada fulani hapa hivi, if ODM inasema itaweka Ruto ndani, kuna mswada hapa hivi, lazima tuupinge. Because there is one thing that is happening this morning. My name is Ojwang, mtoto wa Mariam, Senior Warrant Officer 1, Lieutenant Kanali. Kwa community wananiita Mkenya akenya nae, lakini ukenya wake usiukenye kenye. Because I'm a communications expert, community leader, marketing specialist, and peace, inclusivity, and sustainability advocate from Upper Roysambu, born and bred in Majengo, Nyeri. So my heart this morning is bleeding for a country called Tanzania, our sister country that is going into elections tomorrow, same day that the Gen Zs of that country are going to protest, same day that others are saying they will be pitching camps in all polling stations to ensure that it is a free and fair election. Why is my heart bleeding? It is because we are having three factions in that country protesting tomorrow under Mama. It is so shameful that Mama first took power that was transitioned through their constitution. Hapa hivi kuna kitu naitwa peaceful transition of power. That is where Mama came. Mama was supposed to uphold that. But as she's going tomorrow for an election, the biggest opposition leader, Tundu Lissu, is still in prison. 2 weeks from tomorrow, he will be waiting verdict ya treason. Now, sisi wenye wale tunawaita dada zetu, nchi yetu iko wapi? Because it matters to us. In this country, we have a jamii that we call Makonde. jamii ya Wamakonde walikuja kutoka Tanzania. Tanzania has been experiencing post-elections violence 2015, 2020. Now we don't know what will happen in 2025. Zanzibar si kuzuri. Kwa nini? Wanasema mama ambaye anatoka Zanzibar anataka kutawala kwa mabavu watu ambao wanatoka Tanganyika, ambao wanasema ndio wengi. We as the people of Africa need to speak about whatever that is happening in Tanzania so that the world can at least stop and help us put together a nation that is ours, East Africa. Asante.
Thank you so much, Ojuan. Quite an introduction. But then we are still, now that you brought out the matter of international relations, we have 2 activists who are missing in the country, and apparently, allegedly, they're being held by the Ugandan government. And we've received consistent reaction or consistent feedback from the government, and that is specifically the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and that response is silence. So in as much as we are saying we are not safe as East Africa, we've had several human activists in Tanzania who wengine walirudishwa Kenya, you know, and we've had several arrests, and mama is believed to be ruling na is it mabavu ama ubavu?
Tuseme kimabavu, because if we say kifua and it is mama, some could be disrespectful.
Kiswahili kidogo si
if it
mdogo.
Could be Ruto, we could say another.
But we are seeing a trend, especially in East Africa, where our leaders are apparently leading with force. I don't know if that is the right term to use, but we've seen Uganda, tumeona wako na Uganda, we've seen them having their leader who apparently leads in dictatorship. We've had Kenya, we've had several cases of abductions and everything in between. We've had Tanzania, where right now they're saying that he's like running a one-person race. And nimesikia jenzi wamesema watakuwa wanaenda maandamano in shifts. Kuna wa mchana na kuna wa jioni.
Kuna wa kulinda kura, kuna wa kwenda kwa barabara, kuna wa kukataa.
All right, so Robert, from where you sit, do you think the future of East Africa and the sovereignty of each country is safe as far as we are right now?
I may say that it is safe, and it is also not safe. From where I stand or where I sit, from what has actually been going on, perpetration from the leaders whom were entrusted to give positions, but in the process, they are trying to lead us. You realize that they have been exposed in so many vices, including some going besides what they promised the people during their massive campaigns. So that is an indicator that as a nation, as a community, East Africa, we are not headed towards the right direction, because the moment you hear, for example, an elected leader into the office supporting or sponsoring draconian bills that are meant to bring the progress of a common man and woman like you down, then that is the genesis of all the problems. That is a point that I can use to illustrate that actually we are not safe as the people residing from within East Africa. But at the same time, I can also vehemently stand and say that we are going to be safe. It is not a matter of if, but actually it is a matter of when. When you are introducing us, you have mentioned something to do with the Gen Z revolutions across East Africa. And even the countries that we have so far seen, countries of the caliber of Denmark and Nepal, where we have seen the young people coming out in large numbers to demonstrate their anger to the leaders who have actually failed to honor their promises. You are telling me about how Ugandan agencies are planning to carry out the demos, protect the vote in bits. Tanzania. Yeah, Tanzania. You see, here in Kenya, we have already seen what happened when the heinous financial bill of the year 2023-2024 was passed by force. It compelled the president to call a press so that he could withdraw the same and throw it away. So that one informs us that in as much as we are suffering, our suffering is also going to come to an end because of the measures that young people are putting in place. Now, the day before, a day to the burial of Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, you had the opposition leader by the name H from Tanzania, after he had been instructed by his boss, Chadema presidential aspirant Mr. Tundu Lissu, that you must ensure that you people, you have gone to Bondo to bury our friend who is Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, the father of democracy. Later in the day, we saw the deputy party leader of that party in Tanzania being held at the Hispania, or at the border, a police station. Why? It was speculated that it was an order from above. Above, I mean from Mama Samia Suluhu, barring this leader from crossing the border and going to bury their friend. But what happened minutes later, after Kenyan Gen Zs heard that opposition leader from Tanzania was being held, what followed was that they crossed the border. They ensured that they had rescued that man. They crossed the border with him to ensure that they are going to allow him attend the burial for their friend Raila Amolo Odinga. So not only Gen Zs from now within our country, you see, from what we saw on that particular day, time has come. Even the neighbors, there is the the foreign relation among the young people, whose intention is actually simple, to ensure that they have good leadership. And we also have the Tanzanian musicians who are also coming out to sing songs that condemn the poor leadership. We have Neo Mitego, we have Roma Mkatoliki and others. So all those are signs that we are safe in a near future as East African community.
But is this really sustainable? Because if we look at the current measures in the country, we've had most influencers silenced by abductions and all that. We've had several bills that are passed to law, like the cyber security law, that apparently now grants the government authority to go through your calls and all that, your data. Is this sustainable, or is this safe? How long can the young people keep going to the streets for them to see change? Are there other alternatives that can be used that are more sustainable?
Okay, I believe this one, before we look for other alternatives, this one itself is more sustainable, because I believe that even for us to have the Gen Z revolution last year, the year 2024, nobody had ever expected that. But after that revolution came, people are now convinced that everything is possible, and especially the youth like myself. We have been fighting day and night to ensure that we put Kenya on a better place on the Kenyan map. So that is to say, you may kill the messenger, but of course the message will remain. Giving difficult time to those people coming out in broad daylight to fight for the livelihoods of Kenyans is just an indicator that there is too much heat in the kitchen. It means that the government is a coward. The government has been pressed in the corner, and that is to say that it has no alternative but to use dubious means to scare the demonstrators and those people who are coming out publicly to show a lack of faith in the same government that they entrusted. So before we think of other measures which we can actually put in place to ensure that we can be heard in Kenya, I believe that it is only the hard way, the demonstrations, the protests, that they can easily understand that language. Even during the reign of Raila Amolo Odinga as the opposition leader of the country called Kenya, you realize that the governments of Uhuru Kenyatta, the governments of Ruto now, the easiest language that these people can understand for them to act, it is only the language of destruction. I'm one person who believes that destruction is a bad vice in our society, Kenya. But sometimes if it has to be applied before the government comes out of the blanket to act, then so be it. Because we have seen in the recent past when we were having demonstrations in our country, Kenya, the moment the youth go out, they loot supermarkets, they destroy buildings, they try to uproot the rail and even the barriers on the super highways. It is when the government, through the president or the concerned minister, comes out to call a presser, then they say, you young people, we can actually have a sitting so that we can address this issue. You see, but they keep on testing the waters until it gets serious. So that is to say, we are in to fight up to the end to ensure that Kenya has come to a better place. And silencing one of us only gives the rest anger to come out in large numbers so that they can complete the mission that has been started by one person.
All right. Ojwang, is this sustainable? Because we've seen it in different countries and destruction. And, you know, the worst thing for a country to get into is a coup. And even if these protests happen and these demonstrations happen, most of the time the people who benefit are the political elite, those who have been in politics for a long time, or those people who know one or two people. Most of the time you get that that thing may be itatulia. Then after some time, you know, there is no coincidence in politics. Something happens, you forget about the real issues, and then as you focus on this, that thing still passes. So is this really sustainable?
Yes, it is sustainable. One, because dreams don't die. Only dreamers do. When Kenya was around 15 years, 1978, we lose a father, Jomo Kenyatta. Here comes another person who is younger than him, Daniel Toroitich arap Moi. And he says, I will follow nyayo. Nitafuata nyayo za mzee. Meaning, whatever dreams that the Kenya's first president had of this country, to fight ugonjwa, to fight umaskini, to fight ujinga, I will continue to do that. Na akatuletea kitu aliita nyayo philosophy. When Nyayo was not able to hold this nation together politically, the elites of this country now, akina Mwai Kibaki, Raila Amolo Odinga, they came together and they said we have to do away with KANU regime in 2002. Those were dreams of other people now being actualized by these young Kenyans at the time. Some of these people included Raila's own father, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, who had died in 1994 without being able to capture power, but still championing for democracy, championing for the rights of these people of Kenya to be met. These dreams have kept us alive today. These dreams, we have studied them to a point in 2010. We are having our own constitution. Not many African countries do have their constitutions. They still use the constitution of their colonizers. So, when the father of democracy was being buried back in Opoda, the funeral service in Opoda farm before going to be buried in Kangoka Jaramogi, the fourth president of Kenya, President Uhuru Kenyatta, said that for us to ensure that we honor Baba, we have to ensure that his dreams don't die. It had already been proven that with or without the physical Baba, the Kenyans of this country are ready to take over. That is why, after the controversial Finance Bill 2024, the parliament went down. Since then, I will tell you, whatever we have in this country is just a shell of building, and people who have refused to go back to seek legitimacy because we don't have a parliament. Now, Baba has gone. We don't look like we are tired. We look like we have started. And I'm not talking about me or Ojwang Mariam. I'm talking about everyone in this country. ODM had to call a crisis meeting yesterday on 27th of October, Monday, just to tell the country that whoever is acting in faith. They've not said that he's the new party leader. They're just saying he's acting party leader. And then they are sending these members to go and ensure that they are counter-attacking politics of division or divisive politics within the party. How when you are still acting. At least say you are now the party leader. Ndo watu wakijua hiki chama kina kiongozi. Lakini kama bado ana act, it means the young turks of the party still have a chance to go for whatever people like Dr. Oburu Odinga are saying we should not be talking about. The party leadership. To fill the vacuum that was left by Raila Amolo Odinga. I'll tell you something, that since the youths want to see this sustainable, championing democracy sustainable, winning economic war sustainably, ODM will not give us the next kingpin of Luo Nyanza. Mark my words. Because ODM will die. But will the people of Luo Nyanza die? No. Will them having an urge to have a leader die? No. Around 1995, when Raila Amolo Odinga resigned from Ford Kenya, he went to a minor party, NDP, a very minor party, and went to the people of Langata to seek for the same seat yenye ali resigned from. Until we have leaders with such guts, ODM will not stand strong. Those people who are in ODM, they are still trying to cling on Baba's coat. But for sustainability, we need to unite all of us. Look at whatever is happening in Cameroon. Even if after President Biya, who is 92 years old, has won his 8th term, the youths, as recorded in page 26 of Daily Nation, they are sparking riots. Back here in the country, matters that are not political, youths in science and innovation are crafting ways to ensure that they are solving their own problems so that the East or the West don't control them, like Trump aid freezing, HIV trigger crisis. One day, one time, the youths of this country will be able to find maybe their own vaccine and maybe to have a cure. In other countries, don't rely on USAID. It is an African problem. India have managed to have their own medicine. China have managed to have their own medicine. Those brains there are still the brains that we have here. There is no race that is superior than the other in this world. But if they would want to talk about superiority complex, then we the Africans are the brightest in the world. So one day, one time, tutakuwa tunaweza kujisolvia shida zetu. We don't rely on politicians. We don't rely on foreign interaction. We rely on ourselves. That time when it comes, tutakuwa tunaacha kupanda mbegu za GMO. Tutarudi kuhakikisha kwamba mbegu zetu zile unaweza vuna and then uweke a portion upande next time. Itatusaidia sana. It is happening in other African countries.
I think we are far past beyond state ya kurudi kwa Nyamula. If you know Nyamula, we are far past that state because everyone is now buying seeds for better production of juang. We need food sustainability. I beg to differ on that.
GMO? But then, you plant once.
I said food sustainability.
Good. We need food sustainability. That's why we need to ensure that the seeds that we were taught, zile za kitambo that you can spare, wachana na hii unakuja unapanda once. Hapana, haikupei sustainability yenye unapanda once. You need kitu hata unaweza vuna uweke. Na huo msimu mwingine ukikuja mbegu zako zikuwe ziliharibika pale shambani, utapanda nini mama?
Right, now let's shift a little bit to matters politics. I'm seeing stories of ODM dominating several pages. We have the Star, we have the Daily Nation wanasema ODM moves to preempt post-Raila power food. We have the Star saying Raila succession, who will be next king of Nyanza. And we also have the People Daily saying after Raila and Ruto's Nyanza move rewrite Kenya's 2027 politics. Now, we can't go without talking about the ODM party because it is among the huge parties in the country. And right now we are having mshike. We have kuna wale the political elite, wale wazee, and we have the younger ones, kina likes of Babu Owino and Sifuna. So we have the party divided in terms of ideologies, what they believe in. This other faction says to skize ground, this other faction saying to skize baba. Okay. This other this other faction saying that, you know, we have a memorandum of understanding with the government. Now, do you see, let me begin with you, do you foresee a situation where a division, they say that the media, we are feeling division in the ODM, but I'm not trying to feel division, but do you see a future where the differences in ideologies of the party may lead to division of the Nyanza region probably, and also Ruto gaining more confidence and more votes from the Nyanza region, and this strengthening his base? Because at the moment, if you ask, yesterday I was talking to my brother and he was telling me, mimi kura yangu Ruto anapata asubuhi na mapema. Reason being, ati nimechoka kuweka kura mahali penye inapotea. I better vote for someone I know is winning. So in some ways, the nation has already shifted their mind from one-term narrative, and they're like, you know, there is no suitable competitor for President William Ruto. Do you think this division in the ODM party, or alleged division in the ODM party, is going to be an advantage to President William Ruto come 2027?
Okay, there is already division in ODM. That one can be ascertained through these people who are speaking on media, the likes of Edwin Sifuna. Edwin Sifuna from the word go has reiterated on how he's not going to be forced by anyone to support President William Samoei Ruto in his administration, and also as the capable, or rather the potential candidate for 2027 presidential contest. Is not saying it after Raila has died. Edwin Sifuna has been firm. Even the time Raila Amolo Odinga was alive, there was a time they were attending a funeral in Nyakach. Still before his boss, his student said that him as an individual, there is no way he's going to see Kenyans who are being oppressed under the leadership of William Samoei Ruto. They are crying, they have no medicine in hospitals, and still say that he's in ODM and he's supporting William Samoei Ruto. So about President William Samoei Ruto banking on Nyanza region, especially ODM supporters, that is a true lie. That one will only happen if William Samoei, Luo Nyanza people were holding hands with Kikuyu community or the people from the mountain, because when I talk about the mountain, it is not specifically the Kikuyu community alone. We have the Embu, the Meru, name them. So it will be so difficult for William Samoei Ruto to take charge of Luo Nyanza just because they were in an agreement with the late Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. And even Raila Amolo Odinga, in his days when he was still alive and kicking, he also said that the agreement were not to go beyond 2027. And to me, I understood that even before 2027, that is where the agreement to work together as a broad-based government will reach, so that in the year 2027, ODM as a party and Raila as the ODM party leader and Sifuna as the Secretary General of ODM party, they were to come up with a capable candidate that will face William Samoei Ruto at the ballot. So I mentioned something to do with Ruto not managing to capture the Luo Nyanza votes, because Luo Nyanza is not directly holding hands with the mountain region. Why? Because when we go as per the history of our Republic of Kenya, when Luos hold hands with the Kikuyus or the people from the mountain, we have seen a significance. And let me not mention Kikuyus and Luos, because I'm not tribal anyway. Let me talk of the people from Nyanza region. And you also have to understand that Nyanza is also big. We have the Kisi, the Gusi community. It is also part of Nyanza. And I already told you that when we talk about mountain or Mount Kenya, we have people even from Embu and Meru. So the only way Ruto will have managed to use the Luo Nyanza votes for his own gain will be by or when the Luo Nyanza people were holding hands with the mountain people. because historically we have seen that one happen and it has borne fruits. Quickly, when we trace the history, in 1963, when Kenya attained independence, when you read books of history, you realize that people from Luo Nyanza region held hands with the people from the mountain region. And actually, we saw independence. And even if today someone mentions to you the Kapenguria 6, you realize that we have names like Ocheng Onego, we have names like Bildad Kagia, we have names like Dedan, Kimathi, and all that. These people played a very crucial role in ensuring that they overpowered the British rule, and finally Kenya attained independence. That is one. There was also another instance in the year 1992, during multipartyism period. You realize that we used to have only one political party in Kenya, chama ya baba na mama, and no one will talk ill against it. So in the year 1992, you realize that Luos from Luo Nyanza and Kikuyus also came together. I'm talking about people like Raila Amolo Odinga. I'm talking about people like Koigi Wamwere. I'm talking about people like Kenneth Matiba from Ranga. So these people came together and they really gave hard time to the incumbent president by that time, Daniel Toroitich, Arap Moi, and through them we had the multipartyism, whereby today, if I'm not wrong, Kenya enjoys up to around 122 political parties, whereby you and me today, if we show interest, we can vie on a given political party, which is not KANU, which is not ODM, which is not PNU, which is not Jubilee, which is not UDA. As long as that party meets the guidelines of the Registrar of Political Parties Office, the ORPP, I'm good to go with that political party. So, in 1992, through those leaders that I've mentioned to you, it was easier for Kenya to bring that cause whereby you are allowed to form political parties, many of them. As I finish, also in the year 2010, when there was the promulgation of the Kenyan Constitution, you realize that someone like the incumbent President William Samoei Ruto, he was in the opposition side of the struggle during the 2010 Constitution draft. And you realize that it was Raila Amolo Odinga who was on the other side with the President Mwai Kibaki during the Chungwa and Ndizi movement. So that one led into the new Constitution of Kenya, and finally, the removal of Moi from office was because Kikuyus held hands with the Luos. So that will be the only way William Samoei Ruto will have banked on the division of ODM, and especially the Luo Nyanza region, to advocate and spearhead his political career beyond 2027. But for me, where I stand, I believe that in 2027, it will be to the advantage of the young thugs of the caliber of Babu Owino, Edwin Sifuna, because the kind of political outfit or formation or alignment that they are going to come up with, so many youths will register in large numbers. And even recently, I heard one of the former nominated Senator Gloria Oroba saying that from her own point of view, Babu Owino was late. Should Babu Owino today come up with a political outfit, not only Luos, but Kenyans who love his leadership from all over the country will join that political party in the speed 2 times like the one we saw DCP grow. Immediately it was registered by Honorable Rigathi Gachagua.
All right. Thank you so much. Now, Ojwang, muda wetu unakimbia.
Ndo nimeuona.
All right. Now, I just want to give you to give us your sentiments on this story where cabinet secretaries are told to keep off politics. And this we have Musalia Mudavadi, Prime CS, Interior CS, Health CS, and Inspector General of Police. They have been engaging in politics. What do you think about this and service delivery to Kenyans when administrative positions are used to power, basically misuse of power or performing duties that are not under your mandate?
It is sad, but we are a country that has been doing so well in politics and so bad in economy. Up to that point, tuko pamoja. Because by-elections in India, 27th November, and they are out there using our resources to campaign while we still cry behind the scene. Mm-hmm. Such cries are the things that will unite the question that you've asked him, the Luo Nyanza. Such cries. The Luo Nyanza has been a community that has been marginalized for long, but there are so many. They are people who love each other to a point. They are always ready to back down to support someone else. Mm-hmm. That is a very good thing for us in future. In this future, I'm talking about 2027, which is just around a year away. Because hiyo ingine yote itakuwa time ya campaign. After 1997 general elections, the Luo Nyanza was divided worse than today. Because their kingpin was Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, who had died in 1994. Then, at an election of Ford Kenya in Thika, Michael Kijana Wamalwa won against Baba then. And that meant that if tunapima na nguvu, Waluya wako juu ya Waluo. But in 202 general elections, Governor Orengo, Professor ANYANGO were not together with Baba. Everyone was campaigning kivyake. There was even Dalmas Otieno. But this man who had come with a small party NDP had to be supported. Juu alikuwa shaonyeshana nguvu. Nguvu ya Mluo haiko ndani ya chungwa. Kwa sababu hili chungwa hata sio la Mluo. It was a person from Mount Kenya, a lawyer, who had created or who had registered ODM in 2005. And when ODM was having a pentagon, it also had people like Kalonzo Musyoka in it. Na wakaachana, wakakatika, ikakuwa kuna ODM na ODM Kenya. So leo hii ata ODM ikiisha, haimaanishi that jamii ya Waluo inakosa kingpin. Amepeana kitu ambacho naweza tabiri. Yule ambaye ataweza kuform chama chake kutoka kwa jamii ya Waluo, huyo ndio atakuwa kingpin.
Right. Now, muda wetu umeyoyoma.
Asante.
These days I'm trying with Kiswahili. I'd wish for us to continue, but time is really not on our side. I hope we can do this some other time. But for today, it's a wrap from us. I hope we can have you again.
Nakuru sio mbali. Si amesema tutakuwa bunge.
And as long you keep time because we are late because of you. Lucky. So that marks the end of our newspaper review this morning. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for making time for us. And for our viewers back at home, thank you so much for always keeping it KUTV Rise Today. And that is on Art and Culture Monday and on Biashara Tuesday. Shows that keep you up to speed on matters business, how you can monetize your talent, how you can monetize your craft. And if you're in business, how do you become a better business person? This has been Biashara Tuesday. Until next time, it's bye from us.
You know, say me, I no get issue. If you get money, better me show. This kind of get this cat ego. Out the ranking, and there's no other me. Make you no go the Jones. Like say you drag it low.